Welcome to another recording of the Pharmaceutical Calculation module, Foundation Topics that will help you to advance to the rest of the module content. In this recording, which will only allow for 15 minutes, I will do several series of recording and post to the YouTube channel where you can watch, listen to my voice as you read through the document. This is where we engage all kinds of learners, visual, auditory, and of course the kinesthetic are those who go over and practice in the 13th or the 12th edition. Remember that the foundation topics are only covered in the older editions of the book. However, there are a plethora of sites on YouTube, online. There's even a Roman numeral calculator, a scientific notation calculator. There's even a website on arithmetic symbols, and everything is captured in the footnotes on the document. So as you navigate this, go to the bottom of the pages. Let me scroll and show you. Down here, you will see the different sites where I use. You can just copy the link, post it in Google, and it takes you to the different websites that was used to put the information together. Now, the 6 subtopics, Unit 1 is very broad because it's assuming that you'd have had these foundation from CXC or A-levels coming into us. So the subtopics are Roman numeral, knowing your symbols, which is multiplication, division, addition, estimation, rounding off, significant figures, and standard form or scientific notation. Now, let's start with Roman numeral. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm just adding some audio to the lecture notes so you can listen in as you go through. Roman numerals are used in the apothecary system of pharmacy measurement. Okay, you may ask, what is that? Apothecary system is covered in Unit 2, so we're actually going to do that in the next lecture session. They use Roman numeral to designate quantities on, yes, prescriptions. And so there are common symbols that you may see when a doctor writes a requisition or a prescription order stating the quantity of tablets or capsules that a patient is to receive. Now, what is the apothecary system, you may ask? Let me introduce it to you in this recording. However, we will do it again in the next time we meet. Apothecary system was commonly used in the past by pharmacists and physicians as a system of weights and measures for prescribing and dispensing quantities, volumes of medication. It is largely replaced by the metric system, grams, kilograms, milliliters, liters, that you're so familiar with. However, it still appears in some areas of routine practice, and that is why you need to appreciate the apothecary system. And to appreciate the apothecary system, you have to have an understanding of, yes, Roman numerals. Now, you may see, and believe it or not, in the previous interaction we had, pint was actually in one of the tutorial questions. Yes, I think we've said it was 473 mil. Look back at the document and you'd see that word that was actually used in one of the ratio and proportion examples for your tutorial. Now, let's go down. What are some common symbols used in Roman numeral? SS means the Arabic version, half. So we're going to read this way and across. All right? So SS means a half. A small I, or what looks like a J, or a Roman numeral capital version of 1, is used to designate 1. The J, let me zoom in a little bit further for you, means there is no more common letter I expected in your documentation. What do I mean by that? For example, let me just enter it here. If you have V111, you're expecting something else to follow. No. So what they're saying is you use a J to show that you're terminating the recurring lowercase I that you're seeing. That's all it is. Now you have Roman numeral in the capital form, which is 2. In the lowercase, it uses this lowercase I. And of course, you have 4, 5, 6. Let me zoom in a little bit. 7, 8, 9, 10. LCDM, you need to know this by heart. L means 50, C is 100, D means 500, and M is 1,000. Let's go. So in this recording, we're focusing on the introduction to the subtopics for the third part of the series in the foundation topics we are to cover. This is a chart summarizing common numbers that we normally use in Roman numeral. Going from Y, we can see 16, XVI, 28, XX, 2x means 10 plus 10, that's 20, and V means 5, and the 3 Roman numeral letter 1 means 3. So 20 plus V, which is 5, plus 3 gives you 28. Again, L, C, D, M means 50, 100, 500, and 1,000. So of course, if you're looking at 150, which is right here, 150 right here, then you expect to see L, which is 50, right, plus C, which is 100, and that is why we actually have CL, which means 100 minus 50, 100 plus 50 gives you 150. Now, let's go down to, let's get the color off the screen. We're going to go down to documentation and set of rules for Roman numeral. Roman numerals are typically written from the largest to the smallest, okay? That is why 150, C, which is the largest, comes first, and L, which is smaller, comes after. Now let's look. So if we are using, let me zoom in, IV, the smaller number comes before the V, which means that you're subtracting 1 from 5, and this actually means 4. So whenever we have repeated Roman numerals, X and X, it means you're adding 10 plus 10 to give you 20. The maximum we repeat a number is 3 times. So we do not normally repeat. You will never see X, 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 4 X's or 4 C's or 4L. No. Okay? You'll see a maximum of 3 in a repeated order. Let's go over to the addition rule. When Roman numeral of lesser value follows a greater one, then you add that. So VII means 5 plus 1 plus 1 to give you 7. Of course, it is nicely laid out here for you to follow. Now let's look at subtraction rule. When a smaller number is placed to the left of the larger number, you subtract it. So for example, with the example of 4, the I, which is smaller, that means 1, comes before the V, which is 5. So this actually means 5 minus 1 give you 4. Let's look at how 90 is written. The X, which is 10, and the C, which is 100. The X comes before the 100. So therefore, it's 100 minus 10 to give you 90. Now, what about CM? C is 100 and M is 1,000. So this means 1,000 minus 100 give you 900. So let's go. There is no representation for 0 in Roman numeral. What are some other rules? Roman numerals can be grouped to simplify the representation, and that's where the grouping comes in. So for example, 40, let me enter this down for ease of read. 40 is the 10 appearing before the 50, which is 50 minus 10 to give you 40. 400 is CD, which is 500 minus 100 to give you 400. Again, SS in Roman numeral means a half, and this is common in pharmacy practice. So when you go to the website, explore this website for Roman numeral. I tried it myself and recognize that they give SS to be 0.5. But let's look at something. The website uses S alone to mean 0.5. So, however, in pharmacy practice, we use SS to represent 0.5. So, what if you see Roman numeral I and SS in pharmacy math? That means 1 plus a half, and that is equivalent to 1.5. However, when I placed this in the website, this calculator on Google, it gave me 1 plus 0.5 plus 0.5, which is giving me 2 in the online calculator. So I thought it best that that was a good way to show you that not everything on the internet you're to follow. Double check with your textbook, and it's clearly written in your reference book that SS, 2 S's, represent 0.5 in pharmacy practice. Whereas for the calculator, it was adding 0.5 plus 0.5 to give you a value of 1. Just your heads up when you're looking at that. So again, to conclude, we're at 11 minutes of the recording and it only allows 15 minutes. So we're going to do the last section and end this recording. Some numbers are too large to write in Roman numeral. It wasn't designed for that. And so what they use, for example, 400,000, they put a bar above 400 to show that you're multiplying by 1,000 to give you 400,000. And I thought that was really interesting because in doing the lecture notes and putting the research together for you, this is not something that we normally see in pharmacy practice, but it's important for you to appreciate. So you would never see letters that will designate 400,000, 500,000, a million, or 100,000. No, because we really don't write like that. We don't really use Roman numeral in that context. However, if you should see 4,000, right, that would be what, 4 multiplied by 1,000? Check it out and see what the online calculator gives you, right? But these are really not what we'll be testing on in PharmCal module. This part of it is just for you to appreciate. What you do see on prescriptions are the smaller. So for example, here a medication will be one tablet, one capsule. So you see this small Roman letter, numeral I, the letter I being used a lot. Or you may see 2 little small i's, which mean 2 capsules to be taken. And you may see the smaller numbers all the time for the volume, the number of capsules that you are to send to the patient. So while you appreciate the larger expressions of Roman numeral, really and truly, it is an old practice in terms of expressing mathematical expressions for pharmacy calculation. But these are things that the foundation module expect you to at least appreciate and understand in a given. So to conclude, these are the basic symbols that you should appreciate, right? L, C, D, M means 50, 100, 500, and 1,000. SS means a half, and the small I or capital I and a terminating J are all used to show 1. Okay? The smaller number appearing before the bigger means you subtract, and whenever the smaller number appears after the larger number, it means you are adding. So go and look in the pharmaceutical practice textbook, and even online there are several practice questions that you can use in your self-study and peer interaction. Please get into your study groups. Use the older editions. There are several calculation type questions, and even the Can and Ready textbook that we have released to you have older examples, and the newer versions of the PharmCal textbook you really would not see a lot, because these are older versions of pharmacy practice which have changed immensely. However, we still want for you to appreciate these content. So with that said, this brings to close the subtopic Roman numeral, which is in Section 1 and will appear on your screening assessment.